8月16日，马来西亚总理安瓦尔接受了半岛电视台的一位印度记者采访，但他却在节目里义正言辞地支持一个中国。他讲台湾是中国的一部分，讲得斩钉截铁。主持人自然不接受这样的回答，继续追问道：如果中国使用武力手段，你会不会谴责？不料安瓦尔直接拿自己国家马来西亚打比方，要是有个州闹分裂，我们也会用武力维护国家统一。非常解气的回答让印度记者都结巴了。这场访谈你来我往，火药味十足，非常精彩。来看影片。
In this region, China is the big power, but it appears to have divided Southeast Asian countries because each of you have individual deep trade ties with China. So you have a situation, sir, where some of your neighbors are saying they're fighting rising Chinese territorial aggression. But you say the Chinese threat is Western phobia. It's not a serious threat.
Well, it is Western phobia because if you talk to the West, the only issue they raise is South China Sea and they perceived Chinese aggression. I say from my experience, not only Malaysia but also in ASEAN, the engagement continues. In fact, we have called for the inclusion of the Code of Conduct, which was not initially agreed upon, but now the Chinese have considered.
But you say Western phobia. Your own foreign ministry described Chinese aggression as a serious threat to Malaysia's sovereignty after China sent fighter jets over your waters in 2021.
Yes, that's all that we say. That's what happened. But
that doesn't sound like Western phobia. That sounds
no
that's
Western
your own
phobia
government.
Because they have been harping on this on a daily basis and in every meeting. And I'm saying, other than that, once we did object or protest, they stopped.
So you're saying that you found it as a one-off, but your own neighbors don't seem to agree. The Philippines defense minister said in May this year that China's expansionism is unabated. We are in for a long time struggle.
Well, I agree in the sense that Philippines is an exception because they continue to have issues, but they raise, and always there is an engagement. This is not, you're not talking about Gaza or Ukraine. This is continued negotiations and engagement between these countries. The Philippines, because the claims, it's more contentious, yes, the area in question. And we have always called consistently for negotiations to take place. But it doesn't happen as is promoted by the Western media, I hope, not Al Jazeera, but
No, I'm only citing your own. I'm not. These are not Western.
But it's out of
sources.
context.
These are your own neighbors.
No, we have problems with all our neighbors. We have with Thailand. Why is it not an issue? We have problems, contentious claims with Singapore, with Brunei, with a maritime country.
Of course, you're right. All neighbors have differences. The difference with China is that China is the only one that literally claims all of the South China Sea as part of its territory.
But they're negotiating.
I know, but I'm saying it's that claim which sets it up as a basis for a lot of
But there's no
conflict.
aggression thus far.
Why is it then, sir, that it's not just the Philippines, it's Vietnam, it's Japan,
Yes,
it's
yes.
Even Australia, it's India in another geography.
Even Malaysia, we do have issues. We engage. My point is no aggression, is no show of force or military or perceived attacks. So once a note was sent, they took off the seat. As long as it's not a withdrawal of their claim.
Okay.
So why do you make it as if it is a real aggressive and contentious and...
No, I'm not making it. I'm just citing your own foreign ministry.
Yeah, but
can I ask you this? That some would argue that Prime Minister Ibrahim is being somewhat soft on China because they're your largest trading partner.
I'm soft with all my neighbors, with China, with the United States. What do you do with Gaza? But at the same time, you do express views, either privately or publicly, on these issues. Like the South China Sea, we expressed. We were very...
So trade is not a factor. It's not because of the high volume of trade between you and China
that you
downplay the Chinese threat.
We have high volume, highest with the United States. Number 1 is the United States. Number 2 is Germany. Number 3 is China.
Would you say, though, coming back to my point about ASEAN, the idea of a group of small middle powers acting as a counterweight to China, that you see these divisions, you have a different view, your neighbors have a different view.
Why counterweight against China?
Let me finish the question.
Why not counterweight against America or India?
I'm asking only about the region at the moment. Much of the world recognizes Taiwan as part of China, so do you. But you're seen as someone who stands up for democracy, for people's aspirations. Does the will of the Taiwanese people not count? Because poll after poll shows they overwhelmingly do not want to be ruled by Beijing.
That's antecedent of history. If you accept Taiwan to be part of China,
Yes.
you can express your views for or against, but it is a part of China, and the Chinese have to decide. Why this hypocrisy and contradiction? I see Taiwan as part of China, period. We may disagree with there are some excesses. Yes, express your view. But it must be in that context. It is one China. It's accepted by all.
You don't see the complexity there with Taiwan. You're someone who's very, very much a committed Democrat. Don't you feel somewhere, officially you might say that they're part of China, but don't you feel as a leader, as a Democrat, some empathy for that sentiment?
No, of course.
And
I do express empathy in many other issues. Since you're not asking it, I mean, so many other areas, empathy. There are, issues, religious issues, regional issues, tribal issues in all these countries, even in Malaysia. Do you have views, conscience? Yeah, of course. But what you are suggesting is a way, a complicity or even condoning an attempt to break up a legitimate independent country. And I don't accept that. The only reason why these things crop up is because of antecedent history of a colonial past. And I am not in any way condoning colonialism.
no, it's not just a colonial framework, is it, Prime Minister? Because the Chinese themselves talk of reunification. If they are indeed one entity, then
Yes.
you wouldn't need to reunify. But if, as the Chinese have said...
Because
that
the
if-
Seventh Fleet, my dear.
Okay.
That's why they talk about reunification.
Okay, you're bringing in the American angle. But China has said that if peaceful reunification doesn't work, they reserve the right to use force. If it comes to that, would you condemn that?
I always take it as a Malaysian example. If one province decide
Yes.
to break away, do we use force? I think I will protect the sanctity and unity of the nation.
So you would use force?
Yes. Because otherwise, to be fragmented, what are you suggesting? I mean, to me,
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just asking questions, which is my job as a journalist.
Yeah.
There are, as you know, there have been movements for independence.
But to me, when it comes to China, it's always this, I should say, not ambivalence. Ambivalence is a light word.
Okay.
But it's hypocrisy. Because you don't talk about, many countries in Europe breaking up, or within the United States, or within Africa, or even within other regions. But
All
you
of that
focus only on China.
Later.
安瓦尔总理这番话为什么听着这么解气？因为他一把扯下了某些西方媒体在涉华议题上的遮羞布，那就是他们惯用的双重标准。如果我们能翻开历史和国际法的教科书看看，就能看到历史中有太多的案例来反驳。当美国面对南方各州试图分裂时，当时的林肯总统毫不犹豫地打了4年南北战争，死伤数十万人，绝不姑息。当西班牙加泰罗尼亚闹独立时，西班牙政府直接动用宪法第155条接管该地区，抓捕分裂头目。当英国面对苏格兰公投，当法国面对科西嘉岛的诉求，哪一个西方国家不是把国家主权和领土完整看得比命还重？怎么一到中国，到了我们的核心利益区，某些西方政客和媒体就突然集体失忆，摇身一变成了和平卫士和民主导师了？这就好比强盗指责受害者防卫过当，荒谬至极，双标的令人想笑。过去几十年，我们其实一直陷入一个误区，总是急于向西方自证清白，拼命解释我们没有威胁。但安瓦尔的反击给了我们一个全新的视角。当你的实力足够强大，当你的行为足够坦荡，你根本不需要向带着偏见的人自证。看看今天的全球南方，从非洲的蒙内铁路到拉美的前凯港，从印尼的雅万高铁到中老铁路的飞驰，越来越多的发展中国家用脚投票，选择与中国合作。真正的尊重从来不是靠解释求来的，而是靠实打实的发展红利和硬实力赢来的。世界正在清醒，因为对比太强烈了。看看中东，中国不递刀子不拱火，用真诚促成了沙特和伊朗的历史性和解。看看巴勒斯坦， 中国促成各派别在北京签署北京宣言，实现内部和解。再看看南海，中国与东盟国家正在扎实推进南海行为准则，把地区的命运掌握在自己人手里。反观某些西方大国，在乌克兰危机中源源不断地输送武器，在巴以冲突中屡次动用否决权，偏袒一方。中国用的是和而不同、协和万邦的东方智慧，而某些大国做了什么，我不想重提。事实胜于雄辩，公道自在人心。安瓦尔那句“如果一个省闹分裂，我也会采取一切必要手段捍卫”，不仅怼得记者哑口无言，其实也是说给14亿中国人听的。他戳破了一个幻象，也印证了一个真理：在国家主权和领土完整面前，没有任何妥协的余地，更容不得任何虚伪的政客来指手画脚。台湾问题纯属中国内政，有着清晰的历史经纬和法理事实。我们渴望和平发展，因为那是血浓于水的同胞情谊，但我们绝不意味着会在核心底线上退让半步，因为那是捍卫民族尊严的钢铁长城。那些企图在核心利益上试探我们的人，终究会撞得头破血流。大国之大，不在于嗓门多大，而在于格局多广，底线多尖。西方那套唯我独尊的话语霸权，终究会随着多极化世界的到来而土崩瓦解。当全世界越来越多的国家像马来西亚一样，敢于对西方的虚伪说不，敢于用客观事实看待中国，我们就知道，在这百年未有之大的变局中，站在历史正确的一边，始终是我们。